And it's kind of the association thing. If I'm sure you've had kids, I've had them. If our kids out there running around with not so good people, then they are learned or associated by them. The same way with these foods. There may be a good food, but it's right next to this allergen, so there's an association thing that happens there with the immune system.
Exactly. That is so true.
Culture has been changing. Before, mother used to be home and cook for the kids. Now they go to Burger Burger King and McDonald's and get processed food also from a very early stage. And some schools have them.
All right, so we've got a whole lot more allergens out there than we used to. Our immune system isn't what it used to be. What medical conditions can arise from this perfect storm that's happening?
Well, the first thing I notice is many times indirectly asthmas can come from that, because when we have these irritants that go through the lungs and the bronchial tubes, that irritation many times will trigger an asthma attack as well as stress. So we see that allergies can trigger many different things, asthma being one of them. I think many autoimmune diseases also come from allergies. They can also distract the immune system from doing its job properly. It's kind of like when you have, let's imagine the immune system as a person. You keep giving them another job and another job and another job. At some point, they become, I guess the word is buried, and they can't do anything. And that's kind of what happens to the immune system. It takes on another task, another task, another task, and at some point, it just can't do anything right anymore.
Absolutely. There's so many different things there.
One thing that people don't think about, but kids get ear infections all the time. And that is from food allergies, normally from egg and chicken and milk. I had one little girl, 2 years old. She had been going first once a month to the doctor for ear infections, then every other week, and then it was down to every week. And they were going to put tubes in her ears. And after the second treatment, she never went back to the doctor for ear infections. She went for her checkups, but she never had an ear infection again.
Amazing. And we know statistically that the tubes don't change the hearing loss or anything, so why are we doing those?
The big thing is if you can eliminate that starter button, that first allergen response, then we can reduce the diseases, we can reduce all of the reactions to them, and we actually save energy. The body then uses that energy for health and for balance in the body. The bottom line here is we know that by reducing the allergies, we help the body to I wouldn't say cure itself, but to become back in balance so that it can do the things that the body does quite well, which is heal itself.
It absolutely does if we can remove all the distractions from it. All of this perfect chemical storm that's happening by all these foreign substances, chemicals, our body's response producing its own set of chemicals, and all that winds up eventually feeding back to the brain. And, I suspect that may be another way of describing depression, because would you agree that depression can be caused by allergies?
Absolutely. If you think about it, the serotonin, the hormone that makes us feel good, 95% or more is produced in the small intestine. So if we don't absorb the food to the fullest, we get deprived of the serotonin and we get depressed. So we should take care of the allergies and the digestive system instead of getting Prozac and those things, because they go
You're absolutely
wrong
right,
way.
Dr. Ljung. You're absolutely right. Most serotonin is produced in the bowel. We just think of it as a neurotransmitter in the brain, but most of it is produced in the bowel.
Yes.
What's very interesting is that when we have patients that come in who are very depressed, but when we treat them for their allergies, the depression goes away like magic. And people tell me, so I don't know why I was going to this counselor for so many years, and I've had 3 treatments here, and I feel better. So it's kind of like a miracle or a magic when the body is allowed to do what it's supposed to do. It will get rid of the depression. It'll balance all of the hormones in the body so that we can enjoy our life again, and that's what it's all about.
I had, for example, a patient, a girl who in her 30s, who was very depressed, ready to divorce her husband. And the same thing, I treated her for the allergies, and she started to feel better, and after a few treatments, she is totally fine with her husband, and she saw everything in another light. I guess when you're depressed, everything is black.
It was almost like they were newlyweds again. She came in, she said, oh, everything is great now.
And let me just share some other possibilities there, because every small depression is a major, incredible issue. Just if you look at the dollar value of some of those drugs and antidepressants sold, you begin to understand what a huge issue it is. But
you can depress just to have to pay for it.
Yeah, just to pay for it out of your pocket, or an insurance company is nothing else. But it takes a huge toll emotionally, economically, on relationships, work, every way. But so I just wanted to share with everyone some other little things that they can do. I believe the Allergy Kit would be a major, major step in resolving those, but there are some other things that they can be doing in the meantime. For instance, vitamin D3. That's even coming out in mainstream medicine now, where people's vitamin D3 levels are amazingly low, especially in northern or extreme southern climes where you don't get enough sunlight during the summer, or you don't go out and get a sun exposure. So full spectrum lighting, or getting out of the sun. Yesterday the sun was shining out here. I went out and took off as much clothes as was decent and got as much sun exposure I could for about a half an hour. And every day that the sun's shining, I'll go out there and do that just for my health. We watch so much TV today. That's an amazing source of negative, depressing energy that's coming to our bodies. So make sure that you're watching the right material, not letting the wrong material into your eyes, and laugh. If it takes getting an old I Love Lucy series or something, or slapstick, the Three Stooges, whatever it takes to make you laugh. Laughter is really important and will kind of circumvent or short-circuit depression. And you might want to, again, in what you're allowing into your mind, you might want to kind of avoid some newspapers or news shows. Or if you do, again, be careful what you're reading there. Even your posture affects your mood. And I was talking with a chiropractor here a few weeks back, and just slumping over puts a stretch on the dura, putting stretch on the nerves, and then actually on the brain, compressing the brain. So your posture can literally affect your mood. Stomach issues, having enough acid in the stomach to digest food, and then on the other hand, having adequate sums of water. Afternoon slumps can be caused by just dehydration. Tryptophan, L-tryptophan is an essential amino acid that's really good for sleep and well-being. Of course, if you're not sleeping at night, you're going to be depressed during the day because you're going to be tired. And then there's energy techniques, healing codes, EFT, TFT, TC, me, and a lot more of those. Back to the Allergy Kit, because allergy is a huge issue in depression, as you can see about this perfect chemical storm that we're talking about here. It can even cause some major issues in families. And Ynge and Herb and I were chatting earlier about this before we started this call, and maybe you'd like to share one of those major issues that this might be beneficial in?
Well, often, especially when kids become teenagers, there is a lot of tension between parents and the children, or between the sisters and brothers. And it can often be an allergy. You can be allergic to your spouse or to your kid, just as you can be allergic to a cat or a dog or dust.
And think about it. When you're allergic to something, what do you feel? You feel sick to your stomach. You can't stand being around this thing. It makes you sick, and when that happens to your spouse or to your child, it is terrible. And I can understand how depression can happen just from that.
Because also the liver is affected, as I talked before about the liver detoxing everything, and the emotion of the liver in Chinese medicine is anger. So the reaction can often come out as irritability or anger, and that's the fighting.
So we find that if we can treat the spouse or the kids for the other people in the family, that it's, again, almost like magic. Everything changes. The attitude changes. The family gets together much better. And we do have a way to be able to actually create a special kit that you can treat yourself for your spouse and or your children. And we'll talk about that later.
So even a potential divorce issue this could actually maybe even be beneficial for that, or not wanting to be at home, or with these could actually be possibly part of an allergy complex.
I mean, think of it this way. When you are allergic to your spouse, you can't help it. And so sometimes you're reacting in a way, and it's really not your fault. You know, your husband, and when you're having a fight, everybody blames the other person. But maybe it's really nobody's fault, and they're just allergic. That's where we like to come from. If that is the case, it's a very simple process to eliminate that and make sure that we are not allergic to our spouses.
That's a totally different perspective, but if it could be as simple as remedying an allergy, that would, or at least, even if that's just a part of it, that would be amazing. So thank you for sharing that. So you think we can say goodbye to our allergies and all the symptoms?
I think so. I see it every day.
So
I had, for example,
go ahead.
I had a 7-year-old girl who came in the other week. She has had stomach aches all her life. I mean, as long as she can remember. And the first treatment, the first vial, when she came back the next time, she had not had any stomach pain.
And when her mother was telling me, she almost had tears in her eyes. She was so excited and elated that something like that could change so quickly. It was very emotional. And so it happens all the time. I don't actually do the treatments in the office. Ynge is the one who does the treatments. And I see them come in and I see them come out as changed people. And it totally changes their lives in ways that we can't even describe. But,
so what we have to do is get the attention of your body's immune system, the innate wisdom and response in your body, and focus it on the inappropriate allergy responses. And if you can do that, then you can change all that. Because an allergy is an incorrect response by the immune system to something that doesn't affect most people, and therefore the new you is only being normal, and so that you don't have those allergic responses. So you believe you've cracked this code to doing this. So it's like hitting the delete button on your computer. You can delete that wrong information stored in your immune system.
Yes.
And we install a new, healthier program at the same time. Now, we've actually cracked the immune code. We are so happy. And we've treated allergies for over 10 years in the office, and we knew that we weren't approaching anywhere near the amount of people that really needed this. And Ynge and I put our heads together, and we found a way. It took about 1.5 years to actually come up with the Allergy Kit. And we tested them in the office, and we actually created the Allergy Kit. And what it does is it deletes the faulty programming. It restores the immune system to respond normally. Just like a computer, we delete that wrong programming, and then your allergies disappear like magic. The way we do it is we balance the left and right side of the brain while we're in the influence of the allergen, when we're in the energetic field, and we also balance the acupuncture meridians, because when you're having an allergic response, the meridians are out of whack. Everything is in chaos, and the left and the right side of the brain is also in chaos. So if we can balance those things while we're in the presence of the allergen, we have the old programming is gone, and so are the symptoms. And so we are very happy to be able to offer something like that, and we really appreciate you, Dr. Ben, to be able to let us share this with all of your people that are listening in.